What happens when a superpower stops playing defense and starts hunting the hunter? The rules of engagement just changed forever, and most people missed the signal. If you believe truth matters more than headlines, hit like right now, subscribe to join the inner circle, and share this with someone who needs to see behind the curtain. We are witnessing a moment that will be studied in military academies for decades. It is not just about a missile launch or a drone swarm. It is about a fundamental shift in how modern warfare is conducted. For weeks, the world watched a tense standoff unfold across the Middle East. There were whispers of negotiations. There were promises of de-escalation. Diplomats met in neutral cities to discuss peace. They spoke of ceasefires and stability. But while the diplomats spoke, the military machines were warming up. Late last night, the silence was broken. It was not a small incident. It was not a misunderstanding. It was a calculated strike that crossed a line many thought was immutable. The United States military did not just intercept a threat. They went to the source. They did not wait for the weapon to leave the ground. They struck the hand that aimed it. This is the story of what happened in the last 24 hours.
This is the story of why the balance of power in the region has tilted overnight. And this is the story of what it means for you, for the global economy, and for the future of security everywhere.
To understand the magnitude of this event, we must first understand the landscape. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a body of water. It is the artery of the global energy supply. A significant portion of the world's oil passes through this narrow channel every single day. When tension rises here, the ripple effects are felt at every gas pump from New York to London to Tokyo. For months, this waterway has been a chessboard. On one side, you have the United States Navy, tasked with keeping the lanes open. On the other side, you have asymmetric forces capable of launching hundreds of low-cost drones. The strategy was simple. Overwhelm the defense, spend a little to force the enemy to spend a lot. It is a war of attrition. It is a war of economics as much as it is a war of balls and missiles. But last night, the script was flipped. The United States did not just play defense. They introduced a new layer of offense that changes the calculus entirely. 5 drones were launched toward the strait. These were not random objects. They were precise weapons designed to swarm defenses. They were low, slow, and difficult to track on traditional radar. In the past, this would have triggered a frantic response. Ships would have maneuvered, jets would have scrambled, millions of dollars in interceptor missiles would have been fired. But this time, the response was different. High-powered microwave weapons were deployed. These are directed energy systems. They do not fire projectiles. They fire pulses of energy that fry the electronics inside the drone. The drone does not explode. It simply falls out of the sky like a stone. It is silent. It is efficient. It is cost-effective. Then there were the laser systems. Mounted on naval platforms, these beams travel at the speed of light. There is no leading the target. There is no guessing the windage. You point, you fire, you hit. 5 drones were neutralized without firing a single traditional kinetic missile. This saves money, saves stockpiles, but it also sends a message. It says we can stop you without breaking a sweat. But the real story is the 6th drone. This is the one that never flew. Intelligence systems detected the preparation. They saw the ground control station powering up. They saw the signal link establishing between the operator and the machine. In the past, the United States might have waited. They might have waited for the drone to launch to confirm hostile intent. Waiting is safe, waiting is defensive, but last night waiting was off the table. An aircraft specifically designed for this mission was already in the air. It was an F-16 configured for suppression of enemy air defenses. This is a hunter-killer role. The aircraft carries anti-radiation missiles. These missiles do not need to see the target with eyes. They home in on radio emissions. They home in on the signal itself. The moment the Iranian operator pushed the button to launch the 6th drone, he lit up the battlefield. He became a beacon. The missile locked on. It traveled at twice the speed of sound. By the time the sound reached the ground crew, the target was already gone. The ground control site was struck. The equipment was destroyed. The 6th drone never left the ground. This is a massive escalation in doctrine. It moves the fight from the air to the ground. It moves the fight from the intercept to the source. This shift is critical. For years, the strategy was containment. Keep the threats away from the ships. Keep the threats away from the bases. But containment is exhausting. It requires constant vigilance. It requires endless spending. By striking the control node, the United States has signaled that patience has limits. They are no longer willing to just catch the ball. They are going to stop the pitcher. This changes everything for the opposing command structure. It means their safe zones are not safe. It means their operators are not anonymous. It means that every time they try to launch, they risk their own infrastructure. This creates a psychological burden. It creates hesitation. And in warfare, hesitation is fatal. The message sent last night was clear. We see you. We know where you are. And we are willing to come get you. This is not a bluff. This is a demonstrated capability. It was confirmed by official statements within hours. The language used was precise. It was not ambiguous. It stated that the strike was a direct response to imminent threat detection. It stated that the action was necessary to protect personnel and assets. But beneath the official words lies the real meaning. The rules have changed. The shield has become a sword. Now we must talk about the cost. War is expensive. We often hear about the bravery of the soldiers. We hear about the strategy of the generals. But we rarely talk about the ledger. Every missile fired has a price tag. Every hour a ship spends on station costs money. The interceptors used to shoot down ballistic missiles are incredibly sophisticated. They cost millions of dollars per unit. The drones they are shooting down are cheap. They are mass-produced. They are designed to be expendable. This creates a dangerous ratio. If you spend $4 million to stop an $80,000 drone, you are losing the economic war even if you are winning the tactical war. You can run out of money before you run out of enemies. This has been the core anxiety of the Pentagon for months. They know they can win every engagement, but they worry about the long-term sustainability. Can the industrial base keep up? Can the taxpayers keep funding this asymmetry? This is where the new technology matters. The lasers and microwaves change the cost curve. The cost per shot is basically the cost of electricity. It is negligible compared to a missile. By using these directed energy weapons for the drones, the military saves the expensive interceptors for the big threats. It is a smart allocation of resources. It is a way to stretch the budget, but it also requires presence. You have to be there to use the lasers. You have to be close to use the microwaves. This means ships must stay in the danger zone. It means personnel are exposed. It is a trade-off. You save money on munitions, but you increase risk to people. The strike on the ground control site also has a cost. It is not just financial, it is political. When you strike inside another country, you cross a border. You violate sovereignty. This can lead to escalation. It can lead to retaliation. It can turn a contained incident into a regional war. The decision to strike was not made lightly. It was made at the highest levels. It implies that the leadership believes the risk of escalation is lower than the risk of inaction. They believe that showing strength now will prevent a larger war later. This is the theory of deterrence. You show you are willing to use force so that the enemy decides not to test you. But deterrence only works if the enemy believes you. It only works if they know you are serious. Last night, the United States proved they were serious. They did not just talk. They acted. They showed they had the intelligence to find the target. They showed they had the weapons to hit the target. And they showed they had the will to pull the trigger. This combination is rare. Intelligence without weapons is useless. Weapons without will is bluffing. Will without intelligence is reckless. Last night, all three aligned. Before we go deeper into the economic implications and the global ripple effects of this strategy, I need to ask you a question. Are you getting value from this breakdown? If this analysis is opening your eyes to what is really happening behind the headlines, do me a favor. Tap the subscribe button so you never miss an update. Leave a comment telling me where you are watching from. We are building a community of informed citizens who care about the truth. Your support helps us keep digging when others stop looking. Thank you for being part of this journey. Now, let us look at the broader picture. This event did not happen in a vacuum. It is part of a larger pattern of global instability. We are seeing similar dynamics in other parts of the world. We are seeing regimes that feel cornered. We are seeing leaders who believe that aggression is their only path to survival. When a government feels its grip slipping, it often lashes out. It creates external enemies to distract from internal problems. This is a classic playbook. It has been used throughout history. When the economy is failing, start a conflict. When the people are unhappy, point to a foreign threat. The recent reports coming out of the region suggest significant internal pressure. There are rumors of unpaid personnel. There are reports of currency instability. There are signs of public unrest. In this context, a missile launch is not just a military act. It is a political signal. It is meant to show strength to the domestic audience. It is meant to say, we are still powerful. We are still dangerous. Do not doubt us. But this strategy is risky. It relies on the assumption that the other side will back down. It relies on the assumption that the world will look the other way. Last night proved that assumption wrong. The world did not look away. The response was immediate. The coalition of allies stood together. Nations that usually hesitate to condemn aggression spoke up quickly. They issued statements. They voiced support. This unity is significant. It isolates the aggressor. It shows that the behavior is not acceptable to the international community. This isolation has economic consequences. When a country is isolated, trade becomes harder. Investment becomes riskier. The cost of doing business goes up. This affects the average citizen. It affects the price of goods. It affects the stability of jobs. We are already seeing the impact on energy markets. Oil prices fluctuate based on fear. When tension rises, prices go up. When tension falls, prices come down. Last night, the market reacted. It reacted to the uncertainty, but it also reacted to the display of capability. The market hates uncertainty more than it hates bad news. Now, there is less uncertainty about the U.S. response. Investors know what to expect. They know that attacks will be met with force. This can actually stabilize the market in the long run. It creates a predictable environment, but in the short term, there is volatility. There is fear, and that fear trickles down. It affects the cost of shipping. It affects insurance rates for vessels passing through the strait. These costs are passed on to consumers. So when a missile is fired in the Middle East, you feel it at the grocery store, you feel it in your heating bill. This is the hidden cost of conflict. It is not just the budget of the Defense Department, it is the budget of every household. We also need to consider the stockpiles. Modern warfare consumes material at an alarming rate. Missiles are not like bullets. You cannot just print them overnight. They require complex supply chains. They require rare materials. They require skilled labor to build. There have been reports suggesting that inventory levels for certain key systems are lower than preferred. This is a concern for strategic planners. If a conflict drags on, can the production keep up? This is not just about one theater. The United States has global commitments. It has responsibilities in the Pacific. It has responsibilities in Europe. Resources used in one place are not available in another. This is the challenge of being a superpower. You cannot be everywhere at once. You have to prioritize. You have to make hard choices. The decision to use certain assets in the Middle East means they are not available for training elsewhere. It means they are not available for deterrence in other regions. This creates windows of opportunity for other actors. They watch, they wait, they look for signs of weakness, they look for stretched lines. This is why the efficiency of the new systems matters so much. If you can defend with lasers, you save the missiles for where they are truly needed. You preserve the high-end inventory for the high-end threats. This is force multiplication. It allows you to do more with less, but it requires investment. It requires research and development. It requires a shift in procurement strategy. The military is adapting. They are learning from every engagement. They are updating their tactics. They are integrating new technology faster than before. This adaptability is a strength. It is what keeps the force relevant. However, technology alone is not enough. You need people. You need trained operators. You need leaders who can make decisions under pressure. The human element is still the most critical factor in war. Machines do not feel fear. Machines do not feel fatigue. But the people who run them do. The stress of constant alert is high. The pressure of knowing that one mistake could cost lives is heavy. The personnel stationed in this region are operating in a high-threat environment. They are far from home. They are watching the news just like we are. They know the stakes. Their morale is essential. If they believe in the mission, they perform. If they believe the leadership has their back, they fight harder. The decision to strike the source rather than just intercepting sends a message to the troops as well. It says we are not just going to sit here and take hits. We are going to protect you by ending the threat. This boosts confidence. It shows initiative. It shows that command is proactive. This is vital for maintaining readiness. A tired force is a vulnerable force. A motivated force is a dangerous one. The leadership knows this. They know that perception is reality. They know that showing strength protects their own people. There is also the diplomatic angle to consider. While the missiles were flying, diplomats were talking. This dual track is common in modern conflict. You fight while you negotiate. You pressure while you speak. But when one side fires during negotiations, it breaks trust. It makes the other side wonder if the talks are real. It makes them wonder if the leaders are in control. If the military acts without the knowledge of the diplomats, who is really running the show? This creates confusion. It makes deals harder to reach. It makes verification harder to enforce. Last night's actions complicate the peace process. They add a new layer of tension. They raise the bar for what is acceptable. The United States has now set a precedent. They have shown what the consequence of violation looks like. Future negotiations will have this in mind. The other side will know that cheating has a price. This could actually lead to more stable agreements in the long run. If the penalties are clear, people are less likely to break the rules. But getting to that point requires patience. It requires endurance. It requires the willingness to stay the course even when it is difficult. As we near the end of this analysis, I want to remind you of the mission we are on here. We are trying to cut through the noise. We are trying to find the signal in the static. If you value independent reporting that does not shy away from the hard truths, please share this video. Help us reach more people who deserve the full story. Your share could be the thing that wakes someone up to what is happening. Together we can build a more informed world. Now, let us look at the future. What happens next? This is the question on everyone's mind. Will there be retaliation? Will there be escalation? Or will this show of force bring... History suggests that moments like this are turning points. They define the trajectory of the conflict. If the response is seen as proportionate and effective, it may deter further attacks. The adversary may decide that the cost is too high. They may decide to regroup. They may decide to focus on internal issues. But if the response is seen as weak or incomplete, it may invite more testing. They may try again. They may try harder. They may try different tactics. This is the cycle of violence. It is a loop of action and reaction. Breaking the loop requires a decisive move. It requires changing the incentives. The United States has changed the incentives. They have made aggression more expensive. They have made safety less certain for the attackers. This is a positive step, but it is not a guarantee. Security is never guaranteed. It is always managed. It is always maintained. It requires constant vigilance. It requires constant adaptation. We must also consider the human cost on the other side. The operators in the ground control sites are people too. They are following orders. They are living in a system that demands loyalty. When their equipment is destroyed, when their colleagues are targeted, it affects them. It creates doubt. It creates fear. This is the psychological aspect of warfare. It is not just about destroying metal. It is about destroying the will to fight. When an operator knows that turning on his radio might bring a missile down on his head, he hesitates. That hesitation saves lives. It saves ships. It saves planes. It is a non-kinetic victory. It is a victory of the mind. This is why the strike on the control site is so significant. It attacks the confidence of the network. It attacks the trust within the chain of command. It makes every launch a gamble. And when gambling becomes too risky, people stop playing. This is the ultimate goal. Not endless war, but enforced peace. Peace through strength. Peace through capability. Peace through the clear understanding that aggression will not be tolerated. The global community is watching closely. Allies are taking note. Partners are evaluating their own positions. This event reinforces alliances. It shows who stands together. It shows who is reliable. In a world of uncertainty, reliability is currency. It is trust. It is the foundation of security architecture. When nations see that commitments are kept, they feel safer. They invest more. They cooperate more. This strengthens the overall system. It makes the world more stable. But it also draws lines. It defines blocks. It clarifies who is on which side. This clarity is good for strategy. It reduces miscalculation. But it also reduces flexibility. It makes compromise harder. We are moving into a period of defined positions. The era of ambiguity is ending. The era of clear consequences is beginning. This is a dangerous time, but it is also a necessary time. Ambiguity invites testing. Clarity invites caution. We are choosing caution. We are choosing clarity. Let us reflect on the technology one more time. The directed energy weapons are the future. They are here now. They are operational. This is not a prototype. This is real capability. It changes the nature of defense. It makes defense sustainable. It makes defense affordable. This is a game changer. It means that small drones are no longer a strategic threat. They are a nuisance. They can be swatted away like flies. This frees up the heavy weapons for the heavy threats. It optimizes the arsenal. It is a revolution in military affairs. We are living through it. We are seeing it happen in real time. Most people do not realize the significance. They see a news report about a drone. They do not see the laser beam that stopped it. They do not see the microwave pulse that fried it. They do not see the shift in doctrine. But it is happening, and it matters. It matters for our safety. It matters for our economy. It matters for our future. The economic strain on the adversary is also a key factor. You cannot fight a war without money. You cannot pay soldiers with propaganda. You cannot fuel missiles with speeches. Eventually, the reality sets in. The currency falls. The supplies run low. The morale breaks. This is the long game. This is the strategy of attrition. It is slow. It is painful. But it is effective. The recent indicators suggest that this pressure is working. The internal cracks are showing. The external pressure is highlighting them. The combination is powerful. It squeezes from both sides. It leaves little room to maneuver. This is why the desperation is visible. This is why the risks are being taken. When you have nothing left to lose, you gamble everything. But gambling against a superior force is a losing bet. The math does not work. The logistics do not work. The politics do not work. Eventually the calculation changes. Eventually the cost becomes too high. We are approaching that point. We are seeing the signs. In conclusion, what happened last night was more than a military operation. It was a statement. It was a declaration of intent. It was a demonstration of capability. The United States military showed that it is ready, it is able, and it is willing. They moved from defense to offense. They moved from reaction to action. This shifts the momentum. It changes the tone. It sets the stage for what comes next. The path forward is not easy. There will be more challenges. There will be more tests. But the foundation is stronger now. The resolve is clearer. The tools are better. We are not where we were yesterday. We are in a new phase. A phase of assertiveness. A phase of protection. A phase of strength. As we close this video, I want you to think about what this means for you. Security is not abstract. It is personal. It affects your life. It affects your family. It affects your future. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Do not let the noise distract you. Look for the signal. Look for the truth. We will continue to bring you the analysis that matters. We will continue to dig deeper. We will continue to ask the hard questions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. And thank you for caring about the world we live in. The story is not over. It is just beginning. And you are part of it. Stay safe, stay alert, and keep seeking the truth.